Hello. Only 15 years ago, a survey of family practitioners and pediatricians revealed that 2/3 recommended moderate spanking in some disciplinary situations. However, in the past 5 years, nearly every professional organization associated with the care of children in both the US and Canada have officially supported statements discouraging the use of corporal punishment. My proposition to you today is that the use of corporal punishment is not an effective method of discipline for children. To start off, I'd like to define a few terms. Corporal punishment is the use of physical force with intention of causing a child to feel or experience pain, but not injury. Discipline is the total character molding of the child through example, love, structure, praise, and attention for good behavior. And a child is a person whose mind and morals remain not fully developed. My first claim is when using corporal punishment as a disciplinary method, a parent confuses effectiveness with satisfaction. Corporal punishment sends children a contradictory message, and the use of corporal punishment leads to aggressive behavior. To start off, my first supporting claim, the use of corporal punishment confuses effectiveness with satisfaction. Most physical punishment occurs while the parent is angry. A child acts out in a restaurant or causes a disturbance in a local supermarket. We've all seen it happen, and we've all felt pain observing a child being physically punished as a result of his actions. During this situation, a parent is irritated and gets emotional release and satisfaction from using corporal punishment. In a 2007 study, parents admitted to hitting their children to satisfy their own needs of relieving stress. This suggests that parents benefit from the use of corporal punishment more than the child. The same study shows that over half of the children in the sample explained that when parents use physical punishment as a means of disciplining, the message was never clearly understood. Children want to be precisely told what they have done wrong. When a parent chooses corporal punishment as a means to instruct, lessons are rarely learned. My second supporting claim, the use of corporal punishment sends children a contradictory message. According to a latest study published in Pediatrics, which is the American Academy of Pediatrics journal, with over 2,000 children in the sample, children are most often hit for hurting others. They are told it is wrong to hurt someone else, and as a consequence, they are physically punished. What message will the children learn from these actions? It is without a doubt that highly unlikely that the use of physical punishment is the most effective method for discouraging children from physically hurting others. Children who have experienced corporal punishment are more likely to rely on violence as a conventional reaction to disputes later on in their lives. My third supporting claim is the use of corporal punishment leads to aggressive behavior. The same study published in Pediatrics journal shows long-term effects on children caused by corporal punishment. The study set out to prove that using corporal punishment at the age of 3, 2 or more times a month, would affect the child 2 years later at the age of 5. Aggression was established as the child argues a lot, is cruel, bullies, and shows meanness to others, destroys his or her own things or things belonging to family members and others, is disobedient at home, gets in many fights, physically attacks people, threatens people, or is unusually loud. Corporal punishment being used on children at the age of 3 frequently, meaning 2 or more times a month, doubled the odds of high aggression levels in those children who do not receive corporal punishment. Carol Jenny, MD, MBA, is a professor of pediatrics at Brown Medical School and director of Child Protection Program at Hasbro's Children's Hospital. She supports this by saying, when physically punishing children, it teaches them, I am bigger and stronger than you, therefore I can make you do what I want by inflicting pain on you. Spanking teaches a child that hurting others is the way to change their behavior. When we hit children, we do so knowing that we ourselves are not in danger, because of our size and strength. We would not hit children if we knew there was a chance that they could return blows and hit us back. To conclude, I have stated why satisfaction is confused with effectiveness when using corporal punishment, why corporal punishment sends children a contradictory message, and why the use of corporal punishment leads to aggressive behavior. Having heard everything that I've said, I hope you agree with me in saying that the use of corporal punishment is not an effective method of discipline for children. Thank you.
All right, the opening I think is fine. It sets up the topic. You identified the topic, but you've got negative phrasing in the proposition. At first it sounds like you're starting to go right into the body of the speech, and then it actually turns out that that is a preview that you've got. So there is a preview there, but it does sound like you're rushing it a little bit. And then you get to your first point, and I thought the signposting on the secondary claims was pretty clear. Each of those points seemed a little bit underdeveloped. The first and the second points especially, you're relying on hypothetical examples and a couple of studies that you cite, but you don't really specify who the authorities were, how big the studies were, and there isn't any statistical data from those particular studies. On the third point, you are a little bit more careful about identifying the one study, gaining some credibility from the American Academy of Pediatrics. There are specific conditions in the study that defined what causes the levels of aggression that you're talking about, and I think that that's where you start getting into being able to make some inferences here, although it does sound in the last part there like you were simply describing the results of the study and instead of telling us what inferences we ought to be making on those points. I think that you did okay on some of the third point in making your inference. The first and second points I thought, like I said, were a little bit conclusionary. It sounds like you're rushing through the speech, which probably would explain why it's only 4 minutes. At the end of the speech, though, you did have a very nice structure summary. Even though you don't summarize what the contents of the argument are, you do remind us what the main points were and what the point is that you were trying to get across at the end of the presentation. Thank you.